What needs to change for Oklahoma after last night's loss to Tennessee? Final score, Oklahoma 15, Tennessee 25. I don't think it's all bad if you're Oklahoma, but I do think there is some very real introspection that has to happen out there in Norman, all right? So we'll just have an honest look at this thing as it's Sunday morning. It's been less than 24 hours, but like we've looked at the tape. We've looked at what happened. Now we have to have an honest assessment and move forward. The sun rose again in Norman, Oklahoma. The sun rose everywhere else. That's good news. Next week, you go to Auburn. So a lot on the table for both squads, but for Oklahoma, what needs to be adjusted? We'll talk about that right now. Make sure you are subscribed right here to the On3 YouTube channel. Sooner fans, y'all were one of the first to get on board with this show when we did it in a lobby in Waco, Texas. We've had a lot of y'all join this party on the On3 YouTube channel. If you haven't yet subscribed, would love to have you here. Also follow me on the socials at JD Piquel on Instagram and on Twitter. So Jackson Arnold got benched last night. And when you're the quarterback at a high-profile, big-brand school like Oklahoma and things don't go well, you're going to catch some flack, all right? That's just the way this thing works. Jackson Arnold knows that. Everyone in the college football sphere knows that. And he didn't play his best ball last night. We all saw that. I mean, had 3 turnovers, offense really struggled, and, yeah, again, didn't have his best game. However, if we're pointing the finger at Jackson Arnold and nobody else, we're just not looking at this thing properly. Because as much as people want to say, well, he's not a 5-star quarterback. Man, Dylan Gabriel left for this guy. Like, there's a lot of things said about Jackson Arnold right now. Y'all, we don't even really get to see Jackson Arnold and if he's going to live up to that 5-star billing because my guy does not have a proper offensive line in front of him. Pretty straightforward there. Like, when we said that going into the season, that was one of the reservations we had when assessing Oklahoma was like, hey, have your Jackson Arnold take. Say what you want about him. I understand that. But, like, make sure now, when you assess Jackson Arnold, assess what he's working with. That receiver room was one of the things that you were fired up about in Norman going into the year. One of the things that I said could be the game breaker for them going forward. They've been dinged up there. They have not been healthy at what I would perceive to be their position of strength offensively. And so all those things factor together to where, yes, Jackson Arnold has his fair share of blame. That pick he threw, can't throw it. His fumble, can't have it. The lateral deal, I mean, it is what it is. You know, it's hard to imagine that's going to happen too many more times. But, like, again, Jackson Arnold, it's a lot of things on his plate, but at the same time, make sure we're assessing the entire picture. Now, going into last night, I really liked the game plan. It was, let's move the pocket, get Jackson Arnold on the run, let's attack the perimeter of this defense. We don't want to run into the teeth of that Tennessee defense because they're really freaking good, and we all understand that. And also, Oklahoma told you how they feel about their offensive line last night. By the way, they called the game. What I just said, we're going to move the perimeter. We're going to try and get the ball outside. We're not trying to go head up with Tennessee in the trenches. They understand, okay, offensively, we are still trying to get our footing on this offensive line. And they've been dinged up there as well, so there's a lot to unpack. But, like, when you look to the quarterback position going forward now, Michael Hawkins Jr. and the way that he stepped in, and, I mean, I know this team has a ton of admiration for Jackson Arnold because of the way that he plays a gritty brand of football. Michael Hawkins Jr. did a lot of the same. And to be thrown in there in that spot, College game days there, Kirk Herbstreit and Fowler on the call. It is the game of the week that week, or this past week in America. Like, that was the game. To have him step up and play the way he did, man, like, you got to be excited about your quarterback here. You got to be excited about your young buck rolling out there and just kind of having okay, to heck with it. Throw caution to the wind. Let's go ball. The way that he was able to add some extra juice with his legs, a little bit of extra explosiveness, electricity. I think that's going to be a major factor for them going forward here. Because the trouble I have now when you talk about the quarterback situation going forward, it's tough for me if I'm Jackson Arnold to get thrown back in there if they do choose to go with him going forward and start some other games for them. It's tough for me to feel a ton of comfortability, not looking over my shoulder if I do throw another pick, if I do have another mistake, I miss another read, to feel like, okay, I got my hands on the wheel here and I'm not going to get yanked if I have a poor play. It's tough to say you're our guy without a shadow of a doubt, which I think you need to do to put confidence into your quarterback after last night's game. So I think Michael Hawkins, because of what they have up front, gives them more of what they need. Now, if you put Jackson Arnold and Michael Hawkins Jr. out there at a pro day and said, okay, who looks the best in T-shirts and shorts, throwing the football, going through drills, I think Jackson Arnold's probably the better quarterback. But again, what does your situation call for? I think it calls for a quarterback that can scoot a little bit more on the ground. And let's call a spade here. If he can play more mistake-free football than Jackson Arnold did, that's going to be what you need to go with. Because defensively now, the trouble with Oklahoma is like you're not even able to maximize your defense because your offense kept giving the football away. The offense can't seem to get it all aligned, whether it's Arnold, whether it's the offensive line. Point the finger at whoever you want. The fact remains the same. The product offensively is not quality enough with what they have defensively. Because defense, man, like you held one of the most potent offenses in college football to 25 points. That should count for something. And we knew that going in. I think Oklahoma has a defense now where they will be in every single game they play because of that outfit. Veteran, salty unit, brings back right around 80% production, give or take, from last year. Danny Stutzman, leader of that defense, he's there. They have that continuity there. They're able to play the complex style of football that Brent Venables wants to play. Like, they have the ingredients, they have the pieces to execute Brent Venables' system defensively. However, again, you can't maximize that when your offense is giving it away, when your offense is putting you in bad positions, when your offense isn't able to take advantage of you getting the football back for them. And that's what we saw last night. Now, full disclaimer, if you do go with Michael Hawkins, and that's the way that I expect them to go, I don't have intel, just my feeling based off what we saw last night, I think he is, again, more of what you need going forward. I think if you're an Oklahoma fan, you might need to change the perspective a little bit on your expectations for the play style. I think it goes a lot more to, hey, let's play mistake-free, let's move the chains. Michael Hawkins, don't give it away, make plays with your feet, try and cover up some holes on the offensive line with your legs, as opposed to like, all right, let's run our stuff, let's try and score 40. You'll still try and score 40, don't get it twisted. I'm not saying you take your foot off the gas offensively, but I think when it comes to expectations, at this point, you would settle for mistake-free. Because I'll tell you what, mistake-free against Auburn is going to be good enough on the road. It will. It will. Can they play mistake-free with a quarterback now where teams are going to have some more tape on him, going to be able to scheme a little bit better for what he brings to the table? We'll see. But again, I think Michael Hawkins Jr. is the guy you go with right now. I know he's young. I know Jackson Arnold is, I still believe, a 5-star caliber quarterback. But with what you have up front, you need to change your style. Because Jackson Arnold, with what he brings to the table and what you're not doing protecting him, you got to find other ways to be creative and to find ways to move the football. So last night, it's not the end-all, be-all. It hurts. You gave Tennessee a good push there at the end, and you played a gritty brand of football defensively. There's nothing to hang your head about on that side of the football. But again, offensively, I think we got to adapt. I think it's time to pivot. And I'm always team patience. I'm always giving more time. I'm always, let's give it a little bit more time to bake here. I think from what you saw last night, it's Michael Hawkins Jr.'s time now in Norman. So, will that be the way they go? Remains to be seen. But regardless, we'll talk about Oklahoma going forward here. Make sure you're subscribed. Let me know. Instagram and Twitter at JD Pickell. Message me, tweet at me, whatever. Let me know who you think should be the starting quarterback going forward now in Norman, Oklahoma. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. We're going to keep this party rolling. We will see y'all next time.